Hello everybody, it's Kalaveet and I've got the honor of commentating the first set of the main event of CI7. We got Garay versus Johnnyg2. And this is a really interesting pairing because despite the fact that Garay is a pretty seasoned player, SPL player in general, but also has done really well in ADV, the predictions are quite lopsided. So we got 72 votes for Johnnyg2 and only 12 for Garay. So people really think that Johnny is just gonna crush Garay. But it might not be so simple. Garay is pretty damn good. Okay, so we got Tar lead versus Gengar, which is always a little bit weird. Gengar can be like hypnosis if it's lead Gengar. It's got to expect Pursuit Tyranitar to lead somehow, some way, because that's not too rare. So you probably just don't want to switch out your Gengar. So you gotta have something for that. And we'll see what... I guess let me close this for now. What Johnny will have for that Tar in a second. Brick Break. Oh, is that CV Gengar? Yeah, it seems to be CV Gengar. Wow. And Magneton takes a ton from that. And Garay says, yeah, he didn't expect that. But yeah, Gengar is always a little bit cheesy when it leads like that. You gotta expect some nonsense to happen there. Magneton would have been a nice hypnosis sack though. But now... I guess Garay has gotta have something that can switch into a CV Gengar Brick Break, right? There's gotta be something. And what could Garay bring here? This could be some sort of physical offense or TSS, yeah. So Skamry reveals that it's more of a TSS archetype. So we might have some other Pokemons in the back there. Like perhaps a Blissey, Swampert or something like that. If it's Swampert, it could be Curse with Magneton. Celebi reveals HP Fire here. So it does a pretty decent chunk to Skamry, but Skamry is always gonna take that spike. And Garay is gonna use that to get back into this game. Johnny could have something like a special offense perhaps. I'm not exactly sure what Gengar lead would entail. But we've seen sort of a little bit of a cheesy Gengar that might also want to bait in a Blissey with CV. We got a Celebi. So that could be some sort of special offense. Ah, Miss Leech Seed sucks. Into Drill Peck too. That's quite bad for Johnny. It's the second one though. But this Celebi is taking a chunk here. And Skamry has also got the spike up. So I would expect a switch from Johnny here perhaps. Unless he just wants to chunk the Skamry further. Garay might also want to switch, to be honest. To preserve the Skamry. Maybe he wants 3 layers. Although 1 is usually good too. But risking Celebi here... yeah, I wouldn't do that, exactly. Both don't really want to go in that risk. Too valuable, both mons. Yeah, there is the Swampert that I expected. You always gotta think that it could have Curse, doesn't necessarily have to have it, but with a Magneton that's pretty popular at the moment. And yeah, Swampert being your Metagross switch is always quite scary. If that thing booms... that's your rock resist gone. But Johnny's not gonna go for that just yet. If this Pert has Protect, it's definitely clicking it here. Given that the Gengar is CV. Yep. And he uses that opportunity to get in the Celebi. Threatens the Giga Drain now, so Garay needs to get out. And nicely gets the Leech Seed off on the Skarmory. Get some more chip damage on that. That could go a long way for his meta, if he keeps doing it. But Garay makes a nice play and doesn't lose too much health on his Skarmory. Gets the Tyranitar in here, which threatens to kill the Celebi now. Let's see what kind of Tar we have here. Oh, that is HP Bug, isn't it? Yeah. So we probably have something like either a DD Tar or a VKC Tar here. But that Giga Drain did quite a bit. It is leftovers though. I think DD Tar might take more from that. I'd have to see that. Let me calc that. I obviously don't know the exact Celebi EVs. And this Starmie threatens to either kill the Tyranitar now or spin. He does expect a Gengar in the back, Johnny. Or the Tyranitar to just stay in. But now spin is pretty free, yeah. Skarmory is still healthy, so it can still get a spike up later. And for now, Garay is up 1 Mon. But the Magneton doesn't seem like the most useful Mon. It's already pretty chunked. But Johnny has also lost the surprise factor of the Gengar, or at least it's not going to be as valuable now. So he has to find a way to break through that Blissey. And getting a good boom off on something will be really, really tough. Given that not only is there a Skarmory, but Garay also has a Magneton to sack. So it's unlikely that that will happen soon. So Johnny really needs to find a way to make some progress now. He's halted some of Garay's progress by removing the spike. But Johnny needs to do damage to catch up, I'd say. Goes into his own Skarmory to get up spikes and start that progress. Magneton is still scary, even if it's at, how low is it? 22%. Can still trap a Skarmory, but if Johnny makes a proactive switch to predict that, he can get some damage off on something else, unless Garay values his Magneton too much. Or not so much, I guess. I would probably keep it. Johnny might just get a spike up though, cause playing around the Magneton trap is a little bit scary. If something else switches into Blissey, Seismic Toss, that takes a chunk and really puts him on the back foot. But Garay just makes the safe play and goes Magneton. Which doesn't have lefties, so we can assume it, and it obviously is a Salax, so we can assume it's a Magnet one. Just gets that kill really safely. And Garay seems to, it seems like Starmie is quite, oh, that's a pretty good play for Garay, because I wanted to say it seems like Starmie is able to really easily spin those spikes away without too much effort. And Garay makes a nice play and goes into Skarmory there to sack that Mon. I guess technically Magneton would have been better at this point, but Skarmory is pretty fine. Ooh, Johnny goes Starmie, threatens to kill the T-Tar, but Blissey is also still healthy, so he doubles into Metagross to predict it. Very nice. He's on the back foot here. It's 5-3 Mons left. So he's really gonna make some of these predictions to get back into it. He's got one spike down, so it might be possible. But this Magneton is either gonna chunk or yeah, T-Wave, the meta. Oh, it is also gonna get a chunk off because, whew, that's really lucky. Yeah, full para into crit. Oh, that's really bad for Johnny. Is this gonna be Lam Didita? Yeah, exactly. And Garay just plays around that by going for T-Wave so it can go to +2. So his Swampert, which is almost at full health, should be able to check this really easily. Oh, counter! Counter Didita! Oh, it did not work out though. it was a little bit scary for Garay though, because the Swampert only had serve and wasn't about to 2-hit KO, but Tyranitar would have presumably knocked it into Torrent with the second +1 EQ. So that would have done it. And now we need to see if we can somehow, some way break through this part and maybe win with the tower. Maybe a crit could do it here. Doesn't get it on the switch. I mean, Stami, is it gonna have recover here? Doesn't seem to, otherwise he would have probably clicked it. They're already giving each other the GGs in the chat. So I assume this is over in Garay's favor. And Men's last is revealed. And yeah, now it's done. Garay reveals DD. He's gonna easily kill that Tyrant with Brick Break too. DD Brick Break Men's, yeah. And that's a quite convincing win for Garay, although he did get lucky on that Metagross with his Magneton. And he got a little outplayed by the Gengar at the very beginning. But it ended up being quite nice for him, just because Magneton's health wasn't too necessary and the surprise factor for Johnny's Gengar was gone. And also the counter Tyranitar didn't work out. So yeah. Not that. Let's see. Is game 2 already live? Yeah. So the predictions don't, at least haven't seemed to work out so far. Everyone said it would, or thought at least it would be so one-sided for Johnny. But, well, Garay takes game 1 very convincingly. Let's see. But Johnny is a very, very, very good player, so he could easily bring this back in 2 games. He's certainly the crowd favorite. He tried to use a lot of surprise stuff this match. So maybe he's going to go for something safer in game 2. We'll have to see about that. There's game 2. And we have Suicune lead. Oh, let's switch the sides. Please. Showdown. No? Thanks. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, we got Tita lead versus Suicune lead, which is obviously pretty good for Suicune. Now we'll have to see if this is an off-Kun and a sort of special offense for Johnnyg2. Could be with that substitute, but Blissey also reveals CM, and Raw is very unlikely for that Kun. So this is looking pretty good for Garay right now. Yeah, exactly. Johnny says, I've been barded. How is he gonna play around this situation? Because his Suicune is unlikely to beat the Blissey. Given that it's probably CM T-Bolt, right? So Suicune would have to get a crit for in order to beat that. The fact that Tyranitar also set up Sand immediately just helps Garay quite a bit here. Again, we see like Tyranitar Blissey stuff from him. He seems to like that quite a bit. CM Bliss has had kind of a bit of a resurgence over the last few months, I feel like. I feel like I did not used to see it that much last year, but it's really nice nowadays, I think. And Johnny is really, really thinking here. He does not know how, or he has not figured out a proper line yet, how to play around this CM Blissey. He thought he would go all in with the CM and then the substitute in order to break the Blissey down. Maybe he also has a Dougie in the back. Or that's quite unfortunate, what Gary's saying, at least for Johnny. Johnny just decides to go for more CMs. He decides to just take this war. And yeah, again, there might be a duck trio in the back. It is Ice Beam, so there is a chance for it to cheese this Blissey. Quite a decent chance. But unless he gets one right here, or a nice crit. Perhaps Garay also softballs this turn. Yeah, because of the potential Dougie in the back. So unless he gets something on this next turn. Let's see, Ice Beam. There's the freeze. Odds aren't too out of this world for that to happen after how many Ice Beams? 4. But Blissey also thaws really quickly. So all in all, seems pretty good for Garay. Again, he brings Scumry. Makes sense. Scumry is just so good at the moment. Really consistent. And we also see another Celebi with HP Fire from Johnny. This time it's CM though. Not the regular Leech Seed 3 attacks that's so popular at the moment. And Scumry has to take a huge chunk just to get a spike up and roar that out. Toxic on Swampert is nice here though. And he's probably gonna scare it out with the Moltres here. Because Johnny should probably be too afraid of this Tyranitar to lose health on the Swampert. Even if he lives this HP Grass. Which I'm not sure. So yeah, he gets out of the way. Garay doesn't predict that and just goes for a safe HP Grass. He is pretty ahead right now, I would say. Just because the Blissey versus the Suicune interaction worked out pretty well for him. And this could be something like Substitute Swampert 2. We've seen H-Clap that run that with Calm Mind Celebi, but I kind of doubt it's Pass because it has Leech Seed plus HP Fire, so it would only have one attacking move. No, never mind. It is actually Pass. Wow. Oh, it gets a crit on the switch though. Gets crit on the switch by Crunch Tar. Bad luck for Johnny in this set so far. So is Garay... Oh, Garay is actually faster. I didn't... Yeah, no. We couldn't actually figure that out by chat alone, I think. Yeah, because Tyranitar hadn't shown leftovers just yet. Hasn't taken damage. And that's absolutely devastating for Johnny. He might have just straight up lost a Pokemon to that boosted Swampert. Given that Blissey wasn't too safe. Because if it's something like Punch 2, like Focus Punch, then it would be threatened out as well. So Johnny, again, very, very behind in this mid game. Just like last game. With the back against the wall, because if he loses this one, he is going to lose the set as a whole. Garay's looking comfy in the driver's seat right now. Up a Mon. I think all of his Mons are pretty healthy. Yeah, exactly. Only a little bit of damage on the Bliss. Does Garay just stay in and crunch this Zapdos? Yeah, he wanted to do that. Johnny just goes for EQ with his Tyranitar, takes a massive Brick Break, but he does threaten the Earthquake kill on this Tyranitar. I'm assuming this is like a DD Tar here, since it doesn't have leftovers and has revealed EQ. And Johnny is thinking that at this point, without spikes and any other damage on the bird, he's not going to be able to set up to beat this bird. At least that's my thought process. So he just lets it go. Zapdos is faster than Moltres here. I'm a big timid Moltres believer. But Zapdos does threaten it out this time. Blissey is pretty safe though. And it's Jirachi last from Johnny. Yeah. It's not gonna be Duck Trio, which I thought it might be. But it makes sense on this CM Pass team to have another good recipient there. And wow, gets that HP Grass crit. Might have mattered. I'm not sure. But now is the question, how is Garay gonna beat this Jirachi here? Is it going to be a Super Rachi? I assume so. Is he just going to Will-O-Wisp it with Gengar and then try to beat it down with Blissey by soft-boiling and CMing? Yep, that seems to be a pretty good call. Johnny just goes for more CMs, so Garay can't just switch into Blissey unscathed, just like that, and save the Gengar. But if Garay beats this Jirachi here, I don't really see him beating Celebi. I don't really see him losing to Celebi plus Zapdos here. I think if he beats this Jirachi, then he's pretty comfortable to win. It was, I guess, it was pretty safe to not to just sack the Gengar in case you would get like Spadef crit, Spadef drop crit on the switch or something like that. Then Blissey could have maybe lost to the Jirachi, but it was only at like +2, I think. Maybe Johnny is able to do something with another CM and then a pass to something, but this Blissey can still just CM up itself. So, unless it gets crit by something else, then this seems quite over. Maybe Johnny can really go for Leech Seed, because last time Ice Beam did 46. So Blissey threatens the kill too. So, unless he doesn't pass this CM boost, then the CM was pretty much useless. I'm not sure if there is a way for Johnny to win this. Maybe Ice Punch Freeze, if he even has Ice Punch. Technically full para from Zapdos. There could be some shenanigans, but it seems really, really unlikely. So all in all, it seems like Garay, which almost everybody voted to lose, or predicted would lose, could just take it 2-0 over Johnnyg2, one of the fan favorites here, to win the tourney as a whole. And Johnny is really digging into his timer here, because it's late game, and he might as well. He does not have that many plays left, but he has to figure out what the best way to cheese a win against this Blissey is. Goes for another CM and tries to lift the Ice Beam plus Sand. He does do that, but he gets frozen. Oh, unless he outthaws here, that's even more bad luck for Johnny. And he does not unthaw. Thunderbolt plus Sandstorm is enough to kill that Celebi. Smart play from Garay to go for that, just in case Johnny does outthaw and goes to another one of his mons with BP. Or well, it would have been smart on Jirachi, I guess, but I'm not sure. Zapdos is able to roar it out, but that won't do much if the Blissey just comes in again. This seems really over. Yeah, as I said, like something like T-Volt full para, maybe? Johnny doesn't see it that way. He thinks maybe his Raji can do something, but it's burned against CM Bliss. How is it going to win? Psychics with Death Drop crit, maybe? It's so unlikely. And that's his last turn to get it, but I don't think even with a crit he wins here. Yeah, and that's it. That's GG's. Can't really break through this Blissey. This CM Blissey was amazing in this matchup. It did like everything. But to be fair, the Swampert did get crunch crit, and that was really, really huge. And Garay also had to hit Wisp, which is obviously in his favor, but yeah. And that's it. Yeah, Garay takes it 2-0 over Johnny. Against all predictions. He proves everyone wrong. Wow. I did not expect that myself. I expected this to be way closer, but this was really, really comfortable in Garay's favor. With some hacks, granted, but still. He played very, very well. And yeah, GG's. Hope you all enjoyed the commentary. And yeah, see you all. Goodbye.